Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about how to drive conversions in a data-driven, hyper-personalized world where CX, customer experience, is king. Should be a fascinating session. We haven't actually got very long for this, so we're going to have to talk fast. But as always, I thought it would be very nice if each of our speakers can introduce themselves and what their businesses do. So, Nitin, why don't you kick off?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nitin Sethi. I head digital transformation for India's coolest and youngest airline, Indigo. Yeah.
And yeah, that's lovely. Yes, thank you.
All right. Hi. Hi, everybody. Sunesh Sadashivan. I'm based in Philippines, Manila. Chroma Hospitality, we manage 7 hotels as well as golf courses and some of the beach clubs in Philippines. And now we are expanding our business to Thailand. And one of the reasons why I'm in India, because India is a very big market for Thailand as well. So thank you.
And Jatin, yes.
Hi, I'm Apar Sureka, and I've been with the travel industry for the last 5 years, working as a product manager with Make My Trip. And for those a product manager basically interacts with the business, technology, and customer to orchestrate the entire experience of the user and provide a great customer experience.
Hi everyone, I am Jatin. I have been working in travel from last 14 years. I work for TUI India as a Vice President and Business Head, practically helping TUI India to grow and in B2B as well as B2C markets. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And yes, so we're talking about, I don't know, that the title says that we are in a data-driven, hyper-personalized world, but I don't think we're there yet. So maybe just talking about your own organizations, maybe Nitin, starting with you, I think we maybe are all on a journey towards a data-driven world. Is Indigo there yet?
So in terms of scale and the market size, we are 47% of Indian market, and that means that every second plane is ours, every second customer fly on us. But from customer experience, you also need to understand that people and as users, all of us don't buy product and services anymore, we buy experiences. By saying that, it may sound simple, but it's not. And I have some data with me, let me say that to you. So there is a Gen Z, which is between 4 to 24 years. Then there are millennials who are between 25 to 39 years. Then there is a Gen X, which is 40 to 54 years. And then are baby boomers.
Yeah, and after Gen Z, there's Gen A just
yes.
going up now.
Yeah. So, you know, if you look at all these 4 personas and user segments, their experience and preferences are very, very different. The way he will buy an air ticket versus me and versus the young lady will be very, very different, right? People are not only traveling for work these days, they are trying to explore the world, and that has changed. With experience economy, the exceeding customer expectations is actually taking and making sure that businesses push a lot and they craft something which has been liked by consumer over and over again. Otherwise, you will actually end up losing the customer to your nearest competition. And that has changed, which was not there. You know, when it was only Air India or Jet Airways, it was very different. Now there are 5 airlines competing neck to neck for even a single sector. It's very different. So price is not only the key differentiation, it's actually the value add. So for us, it's the retention, and it's basically not treating your customers like a transactions. I think that has to be in-rooted.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, Nitin, just staying with you for a minute. You mentioned that price isn't a factor. So many people do buy flights on price that I do think that compared to your fellow panelists, that yours is probably the most commoditized of products. So if that's so, if you believe that, does that make it even more important for you to use data and to try and connect with the customers through a personalized experience to actually drive conversion?
Absolutely. So, like you said, see, data is fuel, but you need to understand that you actually don't need to burn that fuel up. It can fire up your business. So once you are telling the person to come back and use your services, you need to make sure that the brand promise which you made has to be fulfilled. For us, it's on-time, hassle-free, and affordable fares. And on-time is the most important criteria when actually people choose between one airline to another. And that's what we encash on. That's what we influence the customer on.
Okay, fine. And then Sunish, coming to you, tell me a bit more about Chroma Hospitality and what it does.
Well, Chroma Hospitality, we manage properties, hotels.
How many properties?
Right now we manage 7 hotels,
Okay.
all within Philippines. And our sister company is called Archipelago International, who manage 150 hotels in Indonesia. So we also manage a golf course. And in my role, it's more about digital, it's about e-commerce, it's about managing the customer conversions on a daily basis, whether it's at the hotels or whether it's at the golf courses. So we are the first golf course, for example, in Philippines to create our own booking engine.
Hold that a bit closer.
To create our own booking engine, which was in 2016. 2016, we created a booking engine which was made for golf course visitors. So, and today, just last month, we made it into an app. So it's come to I think customer or CX right now, customer experience has become very different. 2 years back, if somebody would have asked me, would a chatbot produce or generate revenue for us? I would have said no. 2 years back, somebody said to me, oh, why don't we do a chatbot at our hotels in a meeting? I said, no, it's just stupid. It's just going to be humans. If you want to chat, put some operators in there who will be chatting. But today, last month, for example, I can share December, our company produced around 48,000 US dollars with conversation commerce.
With chatbots?
With chatbot.
But
So basically, on the chatbot, people can put in how many adults, how many rooms, what their preferences and all that, and the chatbot will help them to convert it. The only difference is that even though in that stage, we think that human interaction has to be there. The reason why I say is that there are many times that even after talking to a chatbot, there will be a point where the customer will understand that it's a chatbot it's talking to. And then at that point, they leave it, and then some of my team members will go in and talk to these customers or send an email and make sure that this is converted.
So do you think that, just staying in hospitality for a moment, that a chatbot can actually deliver in a hyper-personalized world? Or are your customers, do you think, realizing, you know what, I'm not getting that emotional connection? I'm actually organizing a conference in London in March or so, when I'm actually calling it, it's all about the emotion, making emotional connections with your customer. Now, in your business, are your chatbots doing that, do you think? Or are they failing a bit?
Not yet, failing.
But they have brought in $48,000 worth of revenue.
Yes,
okay.
but the difference is that I think people have to go back and look at it in this way, that when you go to the owners, hotel management, they'll always say that when you put more and more people to talk to customers on the websites and all, for them it's more expensive rather than putting up a chatbot. Until that point, when it came to that stage that we put up a chatbot on the website, until then we were not really sure that there are customers who will get converted. But now what I think is that there has to be a chatbot to make sure that we don't have to use too many humans, but still we could have 1 or 2 humans for 4 to 5 hotels set up who could basically make sure that the ones which are not converting are converted also. So that 48,000 in future, my goal is to make it $100,000.
Okay, thank you for that. Apple, coming to you, tell me a bit about your Make My Trip product that you're putting out there to consumers.
So if I look at hyper-personalized world where customer experience is the most important thing, what we have to look at is, first of all, not look at a trip or a transaction in isolation and look at a connected trip. I can give you a certain example, a very simple example. A user is traveling early in the morning. If he's traveling early in the morning, there would be a requirement to check in at a hotel slightly early. Can we give them a recommendation for a hotel which allows early checking? So do not think in terms of a transaction in isolation, but a connected trip. And how can we make it seamless and frictionless? Second is, we need to understand the customer better. Where does he stay, which country does he stay, which city does he stay, whether he's a family traveler, whether he's a leisure traveler, does he travel solo, does he travel with family? And based on that, we can give a recommendation which is per his need. If he's traveling to Goa, if he's a family traveler, probably South Goa. If he's a teenage or a college going person, more party kind of a person, then North Goa. So that is important. It is important to understand who the customer is. And third, what are the travel trends? How do people travel? When a person is going to Andaman, he has booked a flight to Port Blair, he's likely to stay 2 nights in Port Blair, 2 nights in Havelock, probably 1 night in Neil Island. Can we build a package around it? And when we integrate all these 3 components, then it leads to a very, very strong value proposition in the language of the customer.
Okay,
and that's the approach of Make My Trip, which is the biggest OTN. It has a lot of data residing on its platform, and we do think we have the ability to stitch together a great experience, using all this.
Okay, Jatin, I'm very familiar with TUI in Europe. It's the largest travel company in Europe, and actually, if we're talking about CX, the customer experience, TUI in Europe can control that from the beginning to the end because it owns its own hotels, its own aircraft and cruise lines. I'm not familiar with TUI in India, whether you're as vertically integrated as that or not.
So in India, we are not vertically integrated right now. We still sell TUI products, that is, the global products that we have. But, my take on the subject is a little different here because when you look at us, we are the world's largest leisure travel brand. So
yes.
When you look at us, we are talking about leisure holiday. And, and when you look at leisure as a product, right, I think we understand that we are in a very data-driven world. There's a lot of data around. But at the end of this, for a consumer or for a guest who's taking that experience or that holiday, it's all about emotions, It's a lot about what makes him connect. That's why around the globe, the one thing that we really talk about is how can we help, our guests or customers to discover their smile. It's basically making sure that we stand for them and support them throughout the journey. If you look at the travel, from that right inception of the thought of travel to the time when he's actually traveling and later stage when he's on the trip or coming back, does he have that support or the brand is able to give them or fulfill their need for them? I think that's where we are working in India as well. So our intent here is to sort of integrate all our systems together. So we're there for our customers every time. We can suggest them better based on their personalized needs. We can give them holidays, be it TUI's integrated product or not, but we can offer them whatever they need as per their requirement. So that's the take that I would have on this subject.
Okay, and Nitin, I'm just, because you're an airline person, I'm reminded of a story. We're talking about data-driven hyper-personalization now. And I'm reminded of a story of a family man checking in for, I won't mention the airline, but its initials BA. It was a long time ago. And checking a check-in desk, and he was getting most awful service. And actually the check-in desk didn't realize that this guy was a leisure traveler with wife and kids, but actually he ran a mega-sized corporation, had a huge airline flight budget, and the airline was just blowing away a major customer. I'm just interested in your opinion, if we look at data-driven hyper-personalization, if you're hyper-personalizing, is there a danger that you might get it horribly wrong and actually you're trying to home in on something very personal for your customer and actually you've got it wrong and you've alienated them?
So yeah, it's very common with many brands, and there is very thin line between personalization and intrusiveness. Brand needs to understand that there is a privacy and there is customer needs to have their own space. You can't bombard them with SMSs, notification, and other means. You need to give them space. So you need to have a proper hand-holding. You need to have a great conversations. You need to narrate a great story, but at the same time respect the value which customers brings in, on the offer you provide. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense by just saying that or having a one side of the story, right? So you are only communicating and there is no response, or you're communicating in a one fit to all manner. That doesn't add up. So any of the business projects, there are two KPIs. One is a customer experience value addition, and then there is a business ROI, right? If any project, whether it's a chatbot or a platform or a multilingual or a voice, these two are not met, one should not do it. Otherwise, you will end up, creating nonsense for you.
Yes, and Sunish, coming back to hospitality again, you can actually have the data sitting there that allows you to create that personalized shopping experience when people are looking to book into one of your hotels. And that can actually be very nice and personalized. What happens though when the traveler actually gets to the hotel? Can we continue that personalized experience, or are we in danger of losing it? Because then the hotel is actually run by real people now who may not be data driven. So in my hotel where I'm staying, I'm being very nicely looked after by the staff on the floor, the cleaning staff, whoever they might be. But of course, they don't know who I am. I just wonder how that happens in hospitality, how you can extend that customer experience using data.
And I think it becomes more difficult if you don't have a good CRM. And I think one of the biggest problems which we see in hotels today is that even any part of Asia you go to, except for maybe Singapore, Hong Kong, that there is no good data. A lot of the data is already, it's about people not putting the data correctly into the system. So when a customer comes to the hotel, if there is an information there that this customer requires, or as per the history, he prefers room number this, or he prefers a bed or a pillow to be set up in such a way that he really wants, as per the experience, then basically you can do that, as long as that information is available in the system.
So that's implying that all the property management systems and beverage systems and all the systems actually in the hotel, whole operational systems need to come back to understanding the customer.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
It's about connecting all your different systems, whether it's your PMS, whether it's your RMS, whether it's your even the restaurant management systems. This all needs to be understanding or talking to each other. So in that case, then we can give that experience to the guest at the hotel.
Okay, and actually you're quite well off in that you've got control of your hotel product, and I suppose the same would go for you, Nitin. You've got control of your aircraft. But maybe if I talk to Apar and Jatin, the kind of product you're selling actually is almost outside of your data control. Now, does that mean that you end up giving a less than great customer experience? Any thoughts, either of you?
Actually, if you look at it, a customer is a shared customer for the hotel and for the OTA. And the amount of data that an OTA has, he might be booking a particular hotel in one city and another hotel in another city. But if there are some special requests that the user has made through Make My Trip previously, and that is something that we can pass on to the next hotel, to provide the experience that the customer wants. So in terms of what we know about the customer, and if we kind of capture it, there is a lot of inferences that we can make. And there are technologies that have been built on top of a lot of data, which basically says that people who have requirements of certain kind, there are other peoples who would have requirements of similar kind, right? So a lot of things can be extrapolated, a lot of things can be fetched from the previous history. It's all about how much data, what is the intent in capturing this data, and how to use it. So I think there is no end to it, and the amount of data that is being captured and the kind of technologies like machine learning that are available, I think the journey has just started.
Okay.
In my opinion.
And yes, Jatin, from the TUI perspective, yes.
So for India business, we have already integrated all our systems. So as Assistant ID said, so a financial system as well as a CRM, our website and all has a back-end connection. But more than that, for our customers, they know that as TUI, we are there. We have our back-end call center which they can reach out to. They have service managers assigned. They have individuals who they know that is going to help them. So when they are on a holiday or when they are traveling, they have a person or somebody that they can reach out to. There are ways and means that you can sort of use data to support that journey. But the reality is that for somebody, for us as humans, it's very essential to know that there is somebody back, as a brand or as an organization or as a structure to support, if there is something that goes wrong. Because that's the biggest anxiety when you look at Indian customers. We have just started our journey into our outbound market. Still the volume that India produces to outbound is fairly minimal compared to other modern markets. So we need to ensure that our customer understands that, and we have systems and tools in place to support that structure and process. And I think we're there in that respect.
Okay, fine. Have any of you got any questions you'd like to ask at all? Just pop your hand up. Okay, let me carry on. The question a lot of people want to ask, because you're all big businesses, and the question that people want to ask, which they're not, is what can I do in my business to start delivering data-driven, highly personalized customer experiences? And what would be wonderful is if each of you can give some advice to people about what they can do with their own businesses. If it was a very small business, a small travel agency, it's easy. They know their customers, they walk in, they say hello, they just automatically, the data's up here, and they're just delivering a hyper-personalized experience. But as we grow our businesses, that can actually be lost. So some words of advice, maybe starting with you, yes.
So Indigo is actually in its teens, right? So we are only 13 years old company. And whether you're a small business right now in 1 or 2 years, or you are in a growth phase in 5 years, continue to focus on customer empowerment, and also have focus on your consistent experience. Because once you make your customer your brand ambassador, it's very easy. Don't only focus on spending money and getting traffic is the most easiest thing you guys can do. Very few people actually talk about having an organic brand strategy, high SEO, high Instagram and Twitter, campaigns, which are topical campaigns. Make sure you are able to retain the maximum number of people coming to your platform, whether it's your shop, digital channel, or a chatbot. It's about retention more than new acquisition.
And presumably you'd agree that once you've paid Google and search engines to get a customer in, their customer, presumably you now want to use their data to actually keep them there as a converted long-term customer. Yeah. Which should be probably easy for you as an airline because people do regular journeys. Sunish, if we talk about your smaller 7-hotel business, is it actually asking too much to expect you to use data to try and bring someone back to one of your other hotels? When you're not a TUI, you're not a big hotel chain, you actually got a fairly small business. Any thoughts on that?
I think I was talking about CRM before, and if you have a good CRM, one of the good things is that you could really have the data of all 7 hotels or even the golf course together in one place, and all of them become the customers of each of our hotels. So that makes a lot of things easier in terms of if you have a guest who has been to one of the hotels and it's a resort, you could be sending him a promotion about the other resort as well. Or you could look at it as a corporate customer and could send him promotions about the other hotels which are also in corporate areas. But CX is about a lot of things, because Nitin was talking about marketing, or even marketing, a lot of people were talking about marketing before. And one of the things in marketing is that you put in a lot of advertising dollars to bring customers in. So one of the things which we need to look at is that you're bringing the customers through a link. What if there is a broken link somewhere? That's number one. Number two, I think to everybody who has to look at it like this, that you must be doing your advertisements from different areas. Some people do advertisements through Meta. Some people do advertisements through Google Ads. Some people do the other SEOs. There could be a lot of those, a same customer who may be getting targeted by different areas of advertisements. How would you make that balance? Who would you pay for that? It's a lot of things like that. And then from the customer experience, I think also about the chatbots. I think one of the main things which we look at, which I personally look at for all my hotels on a daily basis, is how many customers were there who said no. Because at the end of each chat, the chatbot asks a question. Oh, were you happy with your chat? Or were you satisfied with your chat? I only look at those customers who put no there. The reason is that as long as you know that where is your breakup in your whole communication, you can make sure that it's better for future. That's my only.
Thank you. And Apar, some words of advice from you about people who are looking to do more with data in their businesses to try and drive the conversions up.
So I would say that small businesses should not replicate what big businesses are doing. In fact, one of the strengths of small businesses is providing personalized experience without involving technology. And that is a USP of small businesses, and that's why a lot of people go to small businesses. And if you think that it is your strength, then stand by your strength and provide that kind of experience on a phone or in a personalized manner. You can use technology to get more leads, which both of our co-panelists talked about. Using the data of who is the kind of traveler who is likely to travel with you. Use Google, Facebook, Instagram. There are a lot of tools available. You can segment, you can target to the right audience. You can use technology to get flight updates, to get the latest fares, to get hooked to the right distribution channel. But in terms of customer experience, use all these technologies. But for a small business, I would say provide a one-on-one great customer experience. I think that is so unique to a small business, and that's how it should be, in my opinion.
Thank you.
So Paul, that's a great question actually, which you asked, because as a business too in India, we do a lot of B2B. We connect with a lot of travel agents, and I've been interacting with a huge amount of travel agents myself throughout my job and roles. And we all being a very large organizations, but the reality is the advice that you're asking, these guys know their customer much better. I mean, they know their clients, they really connect with them, they know what their kids' names are, what are their buying habits, what do they need and what do they don't. I think what we're trying to do in TUI here is to help them solve a problem, which is, how are they going to get their supplies? Because for a smaller travel company to invest in heavy tools and investment with, bed banks and getting them options available or bookable on the click is what we're trying to work on. So we have developed a tool which is empowering these smaller travel companies to sort of go ahead and give your customer an instant solution on their holiday, or their travel needs. So they can book their flights, their hotels, all those things that they need to build that holiday instantly at a click of a button. And I think that's what we're trying to support them with and solve. As far as the personalized thing is concerned, I think I very strongly believe that all the smaller businesses knows their customer far more, than a lot of larger corporate organizations.
So I don't think the moral of the story is just run a small business and stay small. The moral of the story is grow your business and try to think small, maybe. So ladies and gentlemen, let's thank the panel very much for a great session. Let's thank Nitin, Sunish, Apar and Jatin very much indeed. Thanks, guys.